It's good to be back. Hello and welcome to this evening's PinkUn show, our dedicated Canaries shenanigans that had forgotten who Stan Collymore was and probably wasn't going to bother to ask him on the show. Anyway, I am Michael Bailey. We are here at the Woolpack Public House in the fine city once again, and we are live. Over the next 30 minutes or so, we will wrap up a rather busy week, and it's only Wednesday. Assess the fallout from City's promotions and exit in the corridors of power. The trio of new deals City's young guns have earned this week, today in fact, and maybe even get to talk about some football if we can. We will do this in the delightful company of this week's sociable duo, that is Norwich City Fan Social Club, Sarah Wilkinson and Connor Southwell. Because I keep saying Southwell and it's not. How are you guys? Lovely to have you on. Debutants, that's good. Sarah, how are you?
Really good, thank you. Having a good day. The sun's shining. What more do you want?
Just not October, is it? Connor, how are you? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. A little bit tired, but I'm good. I'm good. Ready to get into it.
You're a busy man, aren't you? You're not all talked out because you were on the... Now, which podcast was it? I lose track.
Along Come Norwich last night, so did that one, which is my first time doing that. So, yeah, it was good. Good fun.
That is a good few days. Were the boys nice to you? They're good boys.
Yeah. Got a difficult set of quiz questions, but beyond that, all very nice, yeah.
It's Tom's fault, that one. Sort it out, Tom. We are live at pinkun.com and on the PinkUn Facebook page, which is on here, hopefully. And we want to hear from you, too, during the course of tonight's show. Be it on Aarons, Lewis, Thompson, Stone, Webber, Kensall, Ward, and especially in light of Marco Stiepermann, you can tell I've been off for a little while, we want to know your favourite City signing since the Farken-Webolution began. That's not rude. 2 summers ago. And no, you can't have Kenny McLean because he hasn't really played enough games yet. So I'm thinking of the ones who have been here in the last 18 months, who have just arrived, that you think, you know what, I like him. And you might not have said Marco Stiepermann 18 months ago. That's my point. So let me know. You can get all those through to us here at the pub. Simply post your words below on the Facebook feed and they will ping right through to my iPhone. So do it. Guys, I'm going to ask you that question. Your favourite of the signings since the summer of 2017? And I didn't give you any warning to that, sorry.
I'm going to say Zimmerman. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. He had a bit of a rocky start. I think we all thought, oh dear, is this the standard we've come to? But we... Well, no, to be fair, and he'll say it himself, we met him at a fans forum that we had on the social club. Couldn't have met a nicer, more genuine, humble, friendly chap. And he got a really warm welcome. And I think, actually, probably because of us, Connor, he's gone from strength to strength. And I think he's an absolutely superb player now.
Brilliant stuff. Connor, your shout?
Probably Mo Leitner. He's a footballer right up my street. I really like technical players who can pass a football. David Fox, players of that ilk, and Mo Leitner for me just ticks every box. He reminds... Well, I wanted to be him when I was a footballer, so that was my sort of style of play. So I think that's why I like him so much.
There's a lot of people who want to be as good as Mo Leitner at what he does very well. Brilliant stuff. Okay, well, we'll come on to that, and your guys let us know what your feelings are on that one as we go through the course of the show. So, Wesley Moulahan has been moonlighting in the Midlands while I've been away, but she is now back. Refreshed, watered, milked, and good to go. What are you laughing for, Dan? With Onel Hernandez. And this week's headlines. We toned it down a little bit. A stone's throw away. Managing Director in shock departure. Zoe Ward and Ben Kensall promoted to share the vacancy, all ahead of the latest set of accounts and next month's AGM. Brilliant.
I don't think this mute thing is working here now.
Fiddle with it, Sarah. Heroes hat trick. Norwich City secure the long-term futures and values of Jamal Lewis, Max Aarons and Louis Thompson with new contracts to the summer of 2022 and beyond. All announced today. That is busyness right there. Thank you. Beautiful. Not so stoked. Rowett's boys spoil City's unbeaten run just before the international break with the sort of win that can inspire championship promotion, so long as you never play that badly again for the rest of the season. And finally...
Oh dear.
Okay, that's fine. Big Sam at what price? At what it doesn't work. Yes, someone reportedly wanted to stick a 6-figure bet on Allardyce becoming the next Norwich City boss, making the former England manager 11-10 favourite. If they wanted to just throw their money away, we take it here right now. And that's it. Oh, all our ears are gone. The pub's gone quiet. Sarah's gone out with a bang. Well, there we go, guys. We are back. The show is back. Not that we're normally short of chat, but there's quite a lot of chat. There's been quite a lot going on. So I reckon we should start with today's news. It's most recent. We've got new contracts. Jamal Lewis, Max Aarons, Louis Thompson. Your feelings when you saw all that break today? Because Norwich like doing things in style at the moment. And, 3 new contracts spread out across the day is quite the statement, really.
I think it's excellent because I think you can't fault those 3 lads. They've come in. Other people might have been daunted. Their performances on the field have shown that they absolutely deserved, everything those contracts have offered. And I think that's testament to why we should be ploughing money into that new academy.
Yeah, I think the key is that they're 3 young prospects, really. I mean, Louis Thompson is the one I look at and go, it's a bit of a gamble given his injury history, but they've clearly got a lot of faith in him. But with Aarons and Lewis, I think it's a win-win for the club because it's only going to add to their value should Norwich stay where they are. And if they do get promoted, then they've got 2 fullbacks who can really push on and sustain themselves in that league, I think.
I guess there's a degree of reality here, isn't there? Because while these players are signed to this longer deal, we're kind of anticipating that if they will be it, even though they've probably cleared most of the debts or a good portion of them and the legacy from the Premier League, if they need to rebuild a squad with several £1 million, they're probably going to have to sell a player, aren't they? So it's just as much about protecting the values, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's all about sensible investment. I mean, as we will always say, we don't have a massive sugar daddy behind us. We've got to be sensible. I think we're in a better position than a lot of clubs in that we've got stability behind the club, and that can only be a good thing. I'm sure we'd all like to sign, lots of different players from around the world, but let's be realistic, work with what we've got, and build a team that wants to be here. Actually,
Dan, main man and director and producer and drinker of cider, most expensive drink I've had to buy tonight. There's a tweet to put up, which hopefully you can do now. He's looking at me very confused. It was one I posted up today. It's the still, Dan, don't worry. But it was basically something I noted, which is that Norwich now have 7 players after today's news. 7 players contracted beyond the summer of 2021, plus options, that is. And they are Ben Marshall, who's 27, Maurice Leitner, 25, Louis Thompson, 23, Emi Buendia, 21, Ben Godfrey, Jamal Lewis, 20, Max Aarons, 18. I mean, and I think I'm going to look at this properly, over the next day. I've got a column to write after all. But I think, say 2 years ago, I think Norwich had about 2 players that were contracted beyond that, and that was the Murphy twins. So you can sort of get a sense of where Norwich are going with this now.
Yeah, I think what's noticeable with those ages are no one's over 28. They're players in or coming up to the prime of their careers, really. And it's also a really big hat tip to the young prospects in the squad who, if they do play well in their 23s, there's now that pathway to develop and earn themselves a really lucrative contract here. So it just shows that the culture that Webber was so keen on installing is now slowly but surely starting to come into place, I think.
And I guess with Jamal and with Max, first choice fullbacks now for you guys, regardless of who's fit?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's remarkable, really, isn't it, when you think about it? Let's have a look. We've got some messages. We'll go through them. Jason Kelf, he's given us a thumbs up. Thanks, Jason. Good to see you. Thumbs up back. Dave Winter, hello from Canary in Kuwait. Canary in Kuwait. David Winter, how lovely. I bet it's not winter there. Well, no, can it be? Let's not get into that. Jason Kelf says he's in Norwich. Where else would you want to be, other than, of course, Kuwait? Jack Reed's got a question already. Question for Sarah: ITV Anglia or the PinkUn?
ITV, and you know why, Jack.
Depends on what context. For Norwich City news, the PinkUn, obviously.
Thank you, Jack.
Dave McKenzie, evening guys from Stamford. Good stuff. A nice place to park your car, David, from what I remember. Gary Field, evening guys from Canary Wharf. Gary, does Gary work in Canary Wharf? Do you know Gary?
Mm-mm.
Gary, do you work in Canary Wharf? That's lovely. And Dave Winter adds, it makes a change to have somebody attractive on the show. Connor, no, Sarah? Wesley Moulahan? It's definitely not Dan and his cider. Get your messages in and we can continue the banter. So, of course, the 3 new contracts was one side of the news, but I had a busy day. Well, I had a busy day on Monday. Everyone else had a busy day on Tuesday. But that's the way it works, isn't it? Steve Stone's announcement that that he has departed the club, and then we had the promotions of Zoe Ward and Ben Kensall in their places. So, start off with Steve Stone. I think it's a shame he's left, because I liked the way he kind of repaired a bit of the relationship between the fans and the club in a difficult period over the sort of 1-2 years before he's now left.
I think Steve was great. I've met him several times in various arenas. I don't know whether people know, but he is a genuine fan himself, and I think he really saw things from the fans' eye view, and his work with trying to push on for safe standing. Great. It's a shame he's gone. I hope he's going to go on to other things that are just as challenging.
Yeah, spot on. I think one thing he brought back was the approachability in the club, and he was a figure that I think most fans trusted because he was so forthright with what he said, and he was so honest with what he said. And I think many fans view him as someone who guided the club through a fairly difficult patch in terms of finances, maybe with Webber also. But yeah, it's a shame because he was such a likeable personality, but we never know what goes on behind closed doors ultimately. But yes, Steve Stone, I think his legacy will be remembered of repairing the financial crisis that wasn't.
Yeah. Well, if there's no crisis, then there was no crisis. I mean, it's clearly a team effort as well, and I know that a lot of work went in from a lot of people to make sure that the finances didn't sort of take hold to a greater extent than they did. David McKenzie says, good news and bad news. Stone a big loss, and great work getting the boys signed up. Neil Austin asks, should we read anything more into Stone leaving? And I guess we do have the account. We're at sort of accounts time, aren't we? We're at the time where the AGM's coming up, and that always pricks our interest because we're always anticipating what that's going to be like. So what do you think, Sarah?
I think we just don't know the full story, and I don't think it's really worth speculating. Whatever has gone on, it's gone, and it's now time to give the new team a chance, or the promoted team, as we should say, because it's people who are already behind the scenes, actually, who have been supporting Steve previously.
Yeah, good to have some promotions at the football club. Hopefully there's more to follow. Hey, but so we should say commercial director Ben Kensall is basically going to take on the commercial part of Steve Stone's role, and I guess for everything else and safe standing, lots of other things that Steve Stone was there to head, will be Zoe Ward, who was previously dealing with, I think, player liaison and contracts. Interests of openness, she is Stuart Webber's wife, just as much as Stuart Webber is Zoe Ward's husband. Good, I hope I get that right. And I believe in a capacity, Zoe was already at the club before Stuart was. Is it worth commenting on that fact that is now a husband and wife duo in 2 powerful jobs at the club? Because it quite clearly fans are going to pick up on it and wonder what that means, if anything.
Yeah, I think it's really belittling to her to have her known as Stuart Webber's wife, to be honest, when she's done. I mean, you only have to look at where she's worked previously. She's worked at Liverpool and the Premier League, so she's not someone that Stuart Webber's dragged in, and just say, give my wife a job. I think she was at the football club before him, so yeah, I get that sort of sense and why people are looking at it like that, but I think they've got to have that strength of character to sort of put their home life to one side and put their business life separately. So I think they're both, Stuart Webber at least, I've never met Zoe Ward, so I can't comment, but Stuart Webber at least is someone who always strikes me as very professional, holds himself in high regard, so I don't think he'd let matters with his wife getting caught up with his job. I can't see that happening personally.
I guess it's a slightly tricky one, because I remember working at Archon when Stephen Phillips joined the board, and the perception, regardless of the inner workings, it's a difficult one with the perception of it, isn't it? Because I think everyone was like, oh right, Archon and the club in each other's pockets, etc. And I can assure you it was completely the opposite. But and Stephen's no longer with Archon, but that's a tricky one, isn't it? And I guess that's sometimes half the battle in a way.
It's always the perception, and I guess that Stuart and Zoe are just going to have to show that the perception is going to be wrong, isn't it? And that is the only way to fight that and take the club on, really. Next stop, the Premiership, hopefully, for everyone.
It's as simple as that, I say. Let's get on with it. Okay, and I should touch on the Sam Allardyce story because it was very random. I mean, I'm just assuming. I'm assuming the betting company came up with it as a publicity stunt.
I don't know, but I mean, poor old Sam. He's a bit like
Dinosaur.
Well, actually, I was going to say Ron Atkinson, because years, you're not old enough to remember this, but years and years ago, whenever there was a manager or speculation about a manager leaving a club, it would always be Ron Atkinson is linked with a job, whether he was or wasn't, and I think Sam's one of those, and I think we just need to leave that subject right there.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's more time than it deserved, to be honest. Jamal Lewis and Max Aarons have had their impressive form rewarded with new deals, and they will both be away on international duty this fortnight. Probably not an ideal situation for City head coach Daniel Farke.
They are honoured, and I'm also happy for them, because it's a great honour to be allowed to play for your country, and it's a sign of their quality performances, and it's great honour for them, also for the club. As a coach, when you think about their level of performances, meanwhile, Jamal had no pre-season, for example, and the same with Timo Pukki, and they are playing since I think 7 or 8 weeks in a row. Meanwhile, always in this rhythm: Saturday, Tuesday, and they have to go on for a few months. So you're a bit concerned, because normally after this workload, they should have some rest, and we have to be careful in general in our football with the plan. It is like it is. We can't influence and change too much, but we have to be in general a bit careful that we don't overload, especially the national players. It is tricky, and but it's quite normal. The players are meanwhile also desperate to play for their country and to be there with good performances. I'm happy for them, but it's difficult to find the right balance with the load, because it's not like they should be only there with 1 or 2 good years in their career. So it should be at least 10 good years, and we have to be a bit careful with the development in football in terms of too many games. But it is like it is, and anyhow we have to handle it.
Well, you find much more features, interviews and analysis on the PinkUn YouTube channel. Let's talk about some football, shall we? I don't think we've actually done that yet, have we? Ridiculous. Stoke. Yeah, that was annoying, wasn't it? As people who've listened to the PinkUn podcast probably will realise, I found it. Was that just one of those days, Connor? Or let's be honest, we know what happened last season. Are we going to get another drop in form off a cliff?
I think we will probably get a slight drop in form. I think this I wrote about it the other day. I think Norwich are at a crossroads at the moment between and where they sort of end up at the end of October will sort of shape how their season will go, because if they have good results against Forest, Brentford and the other team, Villa, I think they'll find themselves in really good shape. And if we come out of October and Norwich haven't won those 3 games or have rather lost all 3 of those games, then perhaps that'll give us a better indication of where those levels are in the Championship at the moment. So I am expecting a slight slump, but I don't think it will be anything like it was last season in terms of length, put it that way, hopefully.
Would be good, yeah, that would be good. Villa could still be managerless. Curious one, isn't it, with Villa? And I guess the question, we'll probably get into this when we look at the championship table as well, but with Stoke as well, were they that bad? Did you look at Stoke? I've already written them off. I've said they're not going up, so which I think might have caught some people's eye. But do you think have they got that in them?
I think it's too early to tell. I don't think Stoke offered much, if I'm honest. We outplayed them largely. Our problem, as you've already identified, is we had no penetration in the last third, and there we go. If you don't, it's a boring old adage, but if you don't stick it in the net, you're not going to win, are you? And it was obviously a terrible shame for the own goal, but those mistakes, one-off mistakes, they can happen at any time, however good you are. But if you haven't, stuck it in the net at the other end, then you've only got yourselves to blame.
It's a big shame for Tim Close, wasn't it? Because I thought he's been very good recently. Anyway, should have probably won Norwich all 3 points at Derby. And there's not really much you can do, I don't think, as a defender in that sort of situation.
No, I think that's one you have to sort of write off as a defender and go, well, that happens. But he's got the character, I think, and still did have the character to lead that back four, which is a very young back four. And I think Now Hanley isn't in it, I think there's a bit more responsibility on him to chaperone, particularly those young fullbacks. And I think he's grown into that role quite well and taken leadership of that back four quite well. And last year I think was a big turning point for him, because the season before he really struggled in the Championship. And last year, particularly the back end of it, I felt he really improved, and he's built on that even more so this year.
Is it nice that Norwich have a little bit of a break now with the international break? But I mean, some players aren't getting a break, but
I think if you're on a winning streak, keep going. So that's my view on it. It would be nice to keep going. Park the Stoke defeat.
Park it. That was a good idea. Let's have a look. Dave Winter. Sorry, Dave. I thought at first there's plenty more stones on the beach. Nice pun. Analogy. But looking into it further and noting the official board's response made me think that this was planned in advance and there was no need for Stone to be there if his job could be covered by 3 of the management. Well, there we go. And Sam Lincoln, excellent to see 2 fellow volunteers flying the flag on the PinkUn show. Doing a great job, guys.
Hello, Sam.
There you go. Hello, Sam. Nice to see you. Right. I think it's time for this, Dan. Yes, it's Flip the Bird. A game a handful of people definitely want to play. Last time out, and that was more than a month ago, Nathan Tuck wilted under the lights, but he's a nice guy and will bounce back, we are sure. As for Chris Reeve, he produced a season's best score to send him top of the leaderboard in impressive fashion, all of which leaves our debutant duo with plenty to aim for if they can handle the pressure better than Riyad Mahrez taking a penalty. So, in short, the guys have 30 seconds to flip as many bar mats as possible, adding 1 to their pile with each successful one-handed catch. We've been through the rules because it's got a bit sketchy the last few times we're out, if I'm honest. So we've been through the rules, had a practice. Both scores will find their way on the leaderboard. The winner will get a much-prized selfie with Wesley Moolahan. Probably keep the horn if you want. Are you ready? Dan, ready with your clock? Dan's ready with his watch. Yep. You guys ready? You look primed. Look at the focus. I love it. Ready, Dan?
3, 2, 1, go.
And this is where I do my best Chris Gorham impression. Sarah's made a promising start using a unusual uphand kind of technique. It's not, you can't have that one, but it's a solid start. Connor's slow going. Connor's looking a bit lost. Connor needs just to focus, but there he is. He's in it. He's focused, and he's down to business. Only 30 seconds, remember, to go about the business. Connor just sort of trying to find a bit of rhythm. Sarah's going to claim one for that. Why not? I'm not watching. I should be. We don't really have a rule keeper in this game, but it doesn't really matter.
1, stop.
It's over. Sarah, you can't have that one. Connor was just keeping quiet in the corner. Probably no idea how many he's put in his pile. Sarah, that is your pile. Count them up and let me, not that one, not that pile. Nice try, Connor. Let us know, how many have you got?
4.
You put one back.
Well, that was the one I dropped.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, that's okay.
It was on your pile. 5.
5.
Is that an important beer mat? Connor.
Yeah, I've got 4.
Oh, it's an important beer mat. Sarah, well done. You've won. How do you feel?
I'm overjoyed.
Connor, difficult disappointment on your debut.
Gutted.
The best interviews I've ever carried out. Well done, guys. Brilliant stuff. You can take a selfie with Wesley Moolahan. We'll do that after the show because no one wants to see us faffing around doing it now. Dan, have you got the sting to play again? Yeah. Then do it. That is how we roll. We're getting good at this now, Dan. So after all that excitement, yeah. It's time to spend a little time QT with our guests. Only one subject, because it's why you're both here, and Diane would kill me if we didn't bring it up. Norwich City Fan Social Club. Now, you have a big night on the way, Sarah. Tell us all about it.
We do. So I want everyone to pin back their ears.
Write down the date.
25th of October at Carrow Road. Doors open at 7 o'clock. Top of the terrace. Bar, and it is a fantastic. We haven't done this event before. We've been going 3 years with the Independent Social Club, and this is a new event for us. And what it is we've got 3 fantastic celebrity guests on each side who will be pitting their wits against each other. It is in fact Clash of the Titans, Pride of Anglia, Norwich versus Ipswich quiz. And
Is it fixed? You fixed it though, right? Yeah.
Obviously, but don't tell them that, right? Or don't tell the Ipswich team yet. So we've got none other than Grant Holt, Chris Gorham and Rob Butler. And from the blue corner, our friends down the road are providing us with the absolute legend that is Terry Butcher. Mel Henderson and also Stuart Gerald will be fighting it out for points. There's going to be a little Q&A afterwards with all our guests. Lots of horns, actually a bigger horn than the one that you've got there, Michael. And we're going to have audience participation games, and it's going to be a really, really fun night. And we're raising money for our favourite charity, the Community Support Foundation. So everyone is welcome. And so doors open at 7. Come and buy yourselves a drink, join in, have a really good laugh, raise some money for charity.
And Darren Eady's asking the question as well, isn't he?
Yes.
As well. So.
Darren Eady, he will be our compere for the evening, friend of the social club, like yourself. So,
Friend of the PinkUn show as well, Darren. We miss you. Brilliant. I hope it goes really well. So that's October the 25th, which is a Thursday, 2 days after the Bournemouth game, isn't it?
That's
basically?
right. Yes, 7 o'clock. So no need to buy a ticket, just turn up.
Yeah.
The winner gets a star.
What?
The winner gets a star, yeah.
As long as you remember Terry Butcher about the Milk Cup semi-finals in '85, he likes that. It's a. I mean, as you mentioned, Sarah, I've been along to the group regular meetings, all sorts of Q&As with officials at the club as well, but just fun events and just a chance for Norwich fans to get together. It does a lot of good work in that way, doesn't it, Connor? And I know you're involved with it.
Yeah, and we're responsible for the whole pink dressing room story, so you can thank us for that.
Thanks. Yeah, well done. Great story.
No, but I mean, I'm fairly new to the volunteers group, and came to a couple of the events last year and was just so impressed with how they dealt with it and the nights themselves. I thought they were really impressive, and anyone who hasn't been to one and maybe hasn't thought of going to one, definitely do, because the work that people like Sarah do and the volunteers do is exceptional, and as Sarah says, all for a wonderful charity who do great work for a lot of people, so it's definitely worth it.
And it is literally a turn up when you have stuff on job, isn't it? That's literally it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we call ourselves a social club because we are social and we are, involved with the club. But it is, there's no membership fees. Most of our events are £3 for adults and a quid for kids. So it's really cheap to get in, and you can just turn up. And you can look out for us on our Facebook, Twitter, and our website, and that tells you all you need to know about what we're doing. Next event, probably casino night in December, so look out for that as well.
Casino night, woof. Can't afford that. No, we can really. Yeah, quite. Connor, aside from that, you're a busy guy, aren't you? Because we've already said you were on the Along Come Norwich podcast last night, Monday night, and there's lots of other stuff going on. You enjoying it? Tell us a bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, it's been a crazy 18 months or so, really. Started a blog in January 2017, so a while ago. Wasn't very good at it, just sort of got some football thoughts off my chest, so to speak. From there, sort of learned, kept writing, kept doing it, and people keep giving me opportunities, so I can't complain at all. But no, it's been really good fun. I've really enjoyed every second of it, and am enjoying every second of it as well. So yeah, it's all going well so far.
I'm sure it will keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. It's brilliant stuff. Right, a quick reminder, now that the show is back, and we've had our month and a bit off, that we do have a Norwich City notice board ready for your weird, wacky, wonderful, and in some cases actually important bits and pieces you may want people to know about. If there are any tweets, stories, events, or groups of a Canaries nature that you want to flag up here on the PinkUn Show, then let us know via all the usual social media channels, or you can write an email. Dan, have you got the slide of the email address? Oh, he's on it. thepinkun@archant.co.uk. Nailed it. I have just 4 words to share. Personalised mugs, pinkun.com/shop, and PinkUn app. Oh, watch this space. Right. That's quite enough plugs for one night. We've not done this for a while either. So, here is how the championship picture looks heading into the second international break of the season. I've just realised I haven't written this bit, so that's okay. If I have a look at the table, let's have a look. We're going to start with the bottom first. Dan, is that right? We've got the bottom half of the table first. Mainly because Norwich aren't in it anymore, so it means we can start with the bottom half. Ipswich are, well done Dan, they are second from bottom though after their first win of the season, coming 12 games in, a remarkable win over Swansea. Hull, they lost at the weekend. They dropped to the bottom of the table. Alec Neil's Preston are struggling for form, but of course they did also win themselves at the weekend. Reading continued to struggle. Millwall won, but shows their recent plight as well. Paul Warne's Rotherham, most Norwich fans' second team probably at the moment, given he's a Norwich boy. Struggling a little bit. QPR recovering. Aston Villa having a bit of a nightmare of it after Steve Bruce, not Stone, was attacked with a cabbage and then sacked. Pretty harsh, really, given all he'd given for that club. Stoke, their win, just lifting them up to 14th. Let's have a look at the top half, Dan. And we've got the top half because Norwich are in it. We can do it second. That's just my rules, but that's how I do it. Norwich are 9th now, but that is, of course, off the back of a loss. They were 5th before their defeat to Stoke at Carrow Road. Swansea, having lost to Ipswich, are still below. Norwich, Sheffield United are top of the table. Not bad given the side they looked when they did beat, admittedly, Norwich in injury time a few months ago now, probably. Leeds have just dropped off a little bit, which is not good for the guys who wrote Bohemian Rhapsody with Goodbye Championship in it, but plenty of time to go. Probably a bit of shape to the table as we look at it. Sorry, that was a bit rambly, but there we go. No fixtures, because of course it's an international break, and we'll bring you the fixtures in next week's show. Your sights on Norwich, guys, are they higher now than they were at the start of the season?
I am much more optimistic than... In fact, actually, I will say, ironically, that I was more optimistic than ever before the Stoke game, and of course it is the game that we've lost. But I think it was good. They showed a lot of heart, and actually the fans got behind them. So for me, that's a step up from where we were at the beginning.
Yeah, I think so. I think most supporters would feel a bit more optimistic. I mean, you only have to look at the reaction at the final whistle on Saturday to show how supporters feel, I think, towards those players at the moment. And I think there's a recognition of what they've done so far this season, which has been fantastic, and they've been fantastic. And what's been great about this run is it's not been them sitting back defensively and winning games 1-0 like it was last year. It's them asserting themselves onto other teams, and teams having to adapt to play Norwich, which is what Stoke did. So yeah, a lot more positive, and feeling more positive by the fact I think Peterborough are second and Norwich don't play them in the league ever, so that's a reason to be positive.
They're going to push Norwich up, hopefully, not the other way around, as happened when Norwich got relegated. Won't talk about that. Open division this year, do you think, Connor? I mean, because we had Wolves running away with it last year. I mean, there is a shape to the table now. I think we can all see that. And Forest, you can see where they are. They're in good form too, and they've spent a bit of money as well. So you can see a shape to it. It's nice to have Norwich involved in the right end while it takes that shape. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like there's one clear runaway favourite this year. It's all quite compact and all quite. So I think there's very little points between Norwich and the bottom three, to be honest. As the championship goes, you put a good run together, you're on the cusp of the playoffs, you lose a couple and you're sort of lower mid-table and people are going, well, what's going on here? So it's one of those leagues, and teams that grind out wins do well. Your Sheffield United, your Middlesbroughs, teams like that are always going to be up there because they can win games ugly, and for all of Norwich's brilliance, they failed to do that on Saturday.
Indeed. Sheffield United, they had a really good start last year and then fell away quite badly in the end. Who's your money on this year, Sarah?
Well, normally I would say Leeds, but they flattered to deceive so many times. I think Sheffield, it's the Sheffield United's their year this year. I'd love to say Norwich. I'm going to actually say Norwich.
I love the incredulousness in your... That's not a word. In your voice. We'd say congratulations to Ipswich, of course. First win. What a win as well. Turning point? Is it just a one-trick pony job? Because, it's interesting what happens down the road. And Paul Hurst's been looking a bit tired recently. It's obviously been pretty tricky.
Yeah, I think it's been a case of him trying to throw all his cards up in the air and hope they land, isn't it, a little bit? Every time I've seen them, they look really bereft of any confidence and attacking ability. So I think it's a combination of those factors. Not convinced by Caden Jackson, who played in League Two as a winger last year. So to pin your hopes on him, for me, is a bit desperate. But and considering the goals they've sold as well. So we'll see. I don't think they'll go down, to be honest. I think they might just survive.
Big call, Connor. Who's worse than Ipswich then this season? Who's going to go down?
I think Hull will, Reading, and Rotherham.
I was hoping you wouldn't say Rotherham. Don't listen to him, Paul. Don't listen to him. Sam Lincoln's been back in touch. Hello, Sam. Good evening. On recent form, does Grant Hanley get back into the team when fit? Coincidence that our upturn in form occurred when he was injured, and Hanley dip in form this season. A great player, by the way, and becoming a legend, which is obviously a big word, legend. But yeah, Grant Hanley. And I suppose, Enel Hernandez has still got to battle his way back into the side.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because when the team is playing well, it's tough to decide who to leave out, in a sense. Who doesn't love Hanley? I mean, the whole business with him cutting his face and just carrying on. You need a bit of steel, and I think in recent two or three recent seasons we've missed that. But with Bradley Johnson, for all his other faults, I thought he was a great player. You could have a little bit of steel and someone who isn't afraid to get their boot in, and I think Hanley might now be our man for that.
Woof. Diane has been in touch. She says we'll finish top 6 this season. You can hold her to that. Does she always say? Every year. Forever the optimist. Hey, that's the way to do it. That is definitely the way to do it. So it is the international break, and the usual suspects are away, of course, and we'll wrap up their activities in next week's show. As for Norwich, they've got a tough run on their return, starting with a trip to inform Nottingham Forest. It's a tricky one, as we've touched on the other games that are coming up. Aitor Karanka reunion. I mean, he went back to Middlesbrough just before the international break, and took a 2-0 win away, and I'm sure Tony Pulis was delighted. But they have really gone for it in terms of trying to recreate what Wolves did last year. Obviously, they're probably not quite the side they were, but still, there's a mood around the place, and they seem to be getting themselves going. Unbeaten
at home as well, so a really tricky proposition for Norwich, I think, after the international break. But one perhaps they'll favour now that they will perhaps have a bit more energy in their legs and in their minds. And hopefully confidence as well that they can go on, given recent performances, particularly that one against Middlesbrough and the opening half an hour against QPR, and hope that they can replicate that, because if they can, I don't think many teams in this league will be able to stop them.
Anyone you particularly want to come home safely from the international break wrapped in cotton wool?
Probably Jamal and Max, to be honest, those two.
Jamal, of course, away with Northern Ireland, and Max away with England under-19s. For the time being. I don't think he'll be playing for them for too much longer if he keeps playing the way he is. So let's have a look at. I know we're a couple of weeks or a week ahead, but I thought we'd ask these guys what the 11 would be that they would pick, injuries withstanding and what have you, at Forest at the City Ground the following weekend. Who shall we start with, Dan? Sarah, let's have a look at your 11 first. You can take us through this, and yes, they will be playing in their white kit. It's not just a mistake. That is a attention to detail, that is.
Well, that's what you're known for, Michael.
Is it? I don't think so. I have all the things. I don't know. Carry on.
Okay. Kroll, obviously. Closer and Zimmerman. I said earlier, I really like Zimmerman. I rate him. Closer, I think, has been superb this season. Lewis, Aarons, they speak for themselves. We've discussed them already tonight. I actually think Lewis and Cantwell link up really nicely. Cantwell has just been a revelation. It'd be really nice to see. Sometimes you see these young players, and it happened a little bit with the Murphy boys. They came through, they have a really good run, and then suddenly, whether they get tired or it all gets too much for them, and then they drop off in form. I really hope that doesn't happen to Cantwell, because I think he's excellent, and I think these two they link up well. I've put Hernandez on the other side for speed. Stiepermann and Leitner, tough call really. I think
because you've left out Alex Tettey.
Because I've left out Tettey.
What are you doing?
Well, look, he's great, isn't he? I mean, we all like him, but I think, and it was tough to leave him out, because you do need a little bit of toughness, someone who's going to scare the opposition. He's unpredictable. It's great when one of the 100 shots he generally shoves towards the goal, goes in. Fantastic. But I think Stiepermann and Leitner are a bit more focused in their play and can feed Pukki and Rhodes at the front.
I've got the formation right. You'd play with a 2-4-4-2.
Because I like to see two strikers up front. It's
You're not the only one.
It's old-fashioned, but that's how I like to see teams play. Attacking wide. I think some of the best teams we've had are when we play wide.
Play 2 up front, 4-4-2.
Yeah,
4-4-2.
4-4-2
I can't remember the exact quote. Lovely, thank you very much, Sarah. Not wishing to, I wasn't mocking you over Alex Tetty. Connor, let's have a look at your 11, Mr. Manager.
Yeah, I have put Tetty in there. Gone for the same back five. I think that's fairly undisputable at the moment. Zimmerman's been fantastic next to Closer. I have gone for Alex Tetty. I think he's one of Norwich's most underrated players, probably of the last 10 years, to be honest. I'm a big Alex Tetty fan. We all know he has his limitations on the ball. He's not the best technically, but what he does off the ball is so huge to the rest of the team. I think he's one of those players that players enjoy playing with, because he allows Leitner to play and he allows Pukki to roam and whatnot. And I also think this year he has improved, which for a 32-year-old is incredible. He is a bit more forward-thinking. He's had probably more shots this year than he did throughout the whole of last year, which I think says a lot about him. I've not gone with Campwell, purely really to get Rhodes and Hernandez in there. I think Pukki had a good run up front. I think might be Rhodes' time just to come in and try and get on a run, because after that Wickham game, I think not starting him was maybe a mistake, because you've got a player there who feeds off confidence. He's one of those strikers who works in the box, can't play outside of the box really. He's a goal scorer, and in this league you need players who get them goals in pivotal moments in games. I think he's one of those players, so that is why I have gone with what I have gone for.
Good man, well explained. And I think it's interesting with Teemu Pukki, because you sense he'll have been away with Finland and probably played a couple of games. Villa will be on the Tuesday afterwards. If you just took him out of the firing line on Saturday, they'll have Jordan Rose at Ram Colney all week to work with. If Anel's back, that's quite clearly an axis for attacking. That's what I would do. I'm not the manager either, so there we go. Alex Tetty, a great point as well, Connor, because have you noticed that, Sarah? I mean, he seems to be more hit. Like, there was one point where basically he won the ball and he was at the head of the break with 2 players ahead of him going, what do I do? Because it's not a typical Alex Tetty situation with the ball, is it?
No, it isn't. And I'm, that may be because Norwich's, I think, flavour this season has been much more, everybody going forward, and sometimes that's completely mad, and sometimes it's great. But I'd always rather have it. I've left Tetty out because it was a case of you can't play 12 people on the pitch, but if you could, he'd be back in there.
You're cheating.
If you know what
I know what you mean. Don't worry about that. Diane's been back in touch. Sorry, no Tetty, no party. So she's not having that. So get along to the next Norwich City Fan Social Club evening, because there'll clearly be ructions over team selection. And Dave Winter's been in touch. We would like to deal with consumer issues here on the PinkUn Show. Dave Winter's been in touch with 3 shades emojis. I think that's the technical term. Dave says, I've been trying to learn On the Ball City from the Cathedral Lounge, as hardly anyone sings it there. Shame. They should. Cathedral Lounge. Sing up. The big screen shows the words. Is that right? Does it?
That's good. I can't see it.
Yes? Well, thanks, Colin. But they are about 3 or 4 seconds later than real time. Can you speak to the operator and get them to do a more professional job? Dave's words. Please. And then 3 footballs. Great question, Dave. Yeah, can you sort that, Fan Social Club? Can you have a word with the club?
No problem.
Is it because they sing it too quickly?
I don't know.
Or we could do the whole slowing down of On the Ball City debate again.
No.
They must be doing all right at the moment.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
The words must be on Canaries' website, surely?
There's a tip. Dave, print them out. Take them to you. Share them around the Cathedral Lounge. Yeah. Be the cheerleader, and then come the Villa game, I'll be listening out, and we'll see if we can hear the Cathedral Lounge singing louder than the Snake Pit. Should be easy, shouldn't it?
You never know.
Where do you guys sit?
Barclay, lower.
Good choice.
Rend, lower.
That's where you get your analytical eye from, you see, the river. I think that's it. I think we're done for tonight. Remember, you can catch this show and all our superb Norwich City, thanks Dan, all our superb Norwich City coverage on PinkUn Facebook page and the YouTube channel, but first and foremost at PinkUn.com. It may be an international break, but we will be back again next Wednesday evening from 7 p.m. live from here at the Woolpack, I believe, on Golden Ball Street in the centre of Norwich. So please join us, be it in the flesh or of course online. And remember, if you want us to come to your local, be it pub, cafe or chilling room, or if you want to be one of our pundits here on the show, simply send an email to thepinkunn@archant.co.uk and we will do the rest. In the meantime, a big thank you to our guests tonight, to Sarah and to Connor. Happy with your debuts?
Had a lovely time. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm glad. My pleasure. Connor?
Yeah, likewise. Been good fun. Yeah, enjoyed it.
We'll be doing it again. Well done. Top work, guys. A big thank you, of course, to the Wool Pack, to the crew, who is, of course, Dan. Dan has finished his cider. Well done, Dan. Hopefully you couldn't tell that from the camera work. And, of course, to you guys for watching and getting involved here and with your eyes. We will see you again next week. Until then, enjoy the Nations League and every ounce of competitive action the next fortnight can throw at you, and we'll see you on the other side. Good luck, James Madison. Didn't even talk about him. Ha! We've moved on. Good night.